Prosperity. In the shadows we find our light. Through the struggles we will take flight. Healing hearts and mending minds. Together we'll leave the past behind. Welcome to Prosperity Podcast, where hope is found. Voices rising up, breaking new ground. With every story shared, we grow and learn. In this journey of healing, it's our turn. Mindful moments equal prosperous lives. Oh yeah. Mindful moments equal prosperous lives. Trauma whispers, but love will shout. In this space of trust, there's no doubt. We'll explore the depths of pain and grace, finding strength in every embrace. Welcome to Prosperity Podcast, where hope is found. Voices rising up, breaking new ground. With every story shared, we grow and learn. In this journey of healing, it's our turn. Mindful moments equal prosperous lives. Mindful moments equal prosperous lives. Take a breath and join the ride. Together we'll walk side by side with open hearts and open minds. In this podcast space, true peace we'll find. Welcome to Prosperity Podcast, where hope is found. Voices rising up, breaking new ground. With every story shared, we grow and learn. In this journey of healing, it's our turn. Mindful moments equal prosperous lives. Mindful moments equal prosperous lives. Prosperity Podcast, a safe space for people healing from trauma. Prosperity Podcast, a safe space for people healing from trauma. Prosperity Podcast, a safe space for people healing from trauma.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to
Hello.
Prosperity Podcast. Today, we have a truly special episode as we sit down with the visionary authors behind the groundbreaking book, Chronicles of the Chosen, Claiming What's Mine. Get ready to dive deep into their insights on manifesting your destiny and embracing the prosperity you deserve. All right, ladies, I'm going to give you the floor. Introduce yourselves. You got a business. What do you have going on before we get into these questions? Go
Well,
ahead.
hi, everyone. I'm Sylvia Hooper, and I am glad to be on this podcast again. I really enjoyed the first time. I am currently at work. So I have a restaurant here in Topeka, Kansas. So if I step away, it's just because I got to go take care of a customer. But I am here, and I'm glad to be among some wonderful women of God.
Yay.
Hello,
Okay.
my name is Ella Carroll, and again, I am glad to be back as well. It was awesome the first time. I am starting back with my business again. It's Ella Denise Enterprises because there's some other things, there's multiple things that I want to do, but I'm trying to ease in and take my time and getting everything set up like I want to get it set up. So, but I'm glad to be here.
I guess I'm next. I'm Jackline Musyoka from Kenya, and I'm very happy to be here. I run a non-profit organization here in Kenya that works with children from slums. And yeah, among other projects, we run an education project where we educate children in a school. Also, we give them scholarships. We run a mental health program. We run a sustainable livelihoods program where we educate women on business skills, among others. And so I'm happy to be here.
Awesome.
And I am Dr. Traci Ward. I am an international speaker, coach, maybe 72 hours fresh from Kenya this morning. And so I am super excited to be here with you all. And I'm looking forward to this podcast. It's been a long time coming. And so I'm super excited to further celebrate these ladies today. Thanks.
Greetings, I am Jean Caggiano and I'm coming in from sunny Florida. The heat index outside right now is about 110.
I get the opportunity to be an entrepreneur living a dream. I get to go to work every day doing what I love to do. And as you see in the photo, there is a couple of the young people that I get to work with, helping individuals achieve their high school diplomas so that they can go on into further secondary courses and follow their dreams to become whatsoever they choose to become in life. So being a part of the book, it has been a definite breakthrough for me. I am grateful to be here. And I also just got back home from Kenya and got the opportunity to meet Miss Jacqueline here, one of our co-authors, as well as spend some time over there with Dr. Traci and some other fabulous individuals that are pouring into the young people and the seasoned people, as I might reference my own age, because it was definitely a learning for me in so many ways. So thank you for having us here today. I'm excited about our book that we've recently launched.
Okay. All right. Thank you, ladies, for sharing. There were two other ladies that were supposed to join, but two or three, right? Is it two?
Three.
Three that were supposed to join, but things happen. Hopefully, we can get them in the near future onto the podcast. I did mention, what was it, about 2 months ago? I had you all on that I would love to get you all individually, just to get your individual perspectives of where you are in life. So hopefully, we can, get them on at a different time or make it a part three. Who knows? All right. So, are you ladies ready to get into some of these questions?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Yes.
So my first question is for Dr. Traci Ward. So you this is your second book anthology that include different stories by women, or is it like has it been multiple books before then? And what has inspired you to do that?
So this Chronicles of the Chosen is CDs. This is, I think this is the first book. This is their book. I was looking to see if I had the second one with me, but I don't. But this is the third in the series, and in the Chronicles of the Chosen series. And I have published actually over probably 15 now. But it's something that I began doing with Dr. Ruben West. We decided that we were meeting people with all these incredible, you know what? There's a way to get these stories out to people, and they're life changing stories. And, there's nothing greater than being able to pick up a book and read a real story where people are telling the real truth, and not just any story. If you ask the ladies, there were certain criteria. Number one, they had to be willing to tell the raw truth. And so it's something that I believe that every woman has a story. Whether not everybody will write a book, but I believe that everybody's story should be told. And the way that people if they can entrust you with their story, it should be told, keeping their dignity intact, keeping truth out there, but yet keeping it intact. And it so that it's life changing, because how us it's not for us. It's to be told, and this helps somebody else over. So that is one reason that it's been a calling for me. It's not just telling their stories. It literally is a calling, that God has placed on my heart and in my life to be able. It is an assignment to get those stories out and allow people's lives to be changed in that way. Because when it's just you in a book, you can deal with the truth sometimes with somebody, but you can crack open a book and be very transparent. So that's one reason that I do it.
Beautifully said. Beautifully said. Thank you for answering that question.
Yes.
So the next question is for everybody as a whole. Um, the Chronicles of the Chosen delves into different profound themes based off of each individual lady. How do you see that your different character development in this book, and the different journeys that reflect common struggles in mental health that people face today. Anyway,
Mm.
Say that again.
I'm sorry. So the Chronicles of the Chosen delves into different profound themes based off of each one of you individually because of your stories. How do you see that your character development of who you are from basically with dealing with the trauma and going through your healing process now to better elaborate on that? And how does those common struggles with mental health basically relate to people today?
Well, for me, I would say I don't. I'm very careful about spiritual authority.
Hmm.
I've never gone back to serving at the church setting. I serve using the ministry God gave me. So my trust is still a little bit low. And I think it's interfering also with how I receive, in a church setting, though, in a church setting. But I've learned to just really serve God as who He is, and I think it will take a little bit longer before I can serve in a church setting. I grew up really loving to serve and loving to serve God in the church, and right now I'm a bit hesitant about it, and yeah, it has shaped me that way. But if I'm talking to a young person, I recommend them to use their early years serving God in a church setting, I would say. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing. Good. Anyone else?
I would say for myself, part of it is your question was about our past and the traumas that we've lived through and the ability to tell about it today. In my classroom, many of the youth that I work with are going through some of the same things that I went through as a young person. So I have the opportunity to not only share about the book itself, but I have the opportunity to share with those young people and be able to connect with them. So writing the book helped me to open up a little bit more and know that the story is it's not for me, it's for them, so that they can see that the struggles in life doesn't pick and choose who it does. The stories of life are applicable to everybody.
That's good. That's good. Thank you for sharing that. Does anybody else want to speak on that question?
I would say for me, it's more of a connecting with my daughters more because of some of the things that they've been through, going through, kind of still dealing with. And it just allowed me to be a better listener because they're older now, right? And they're able to share some things that I didn't even know about when they were younger. And I'm like, I wish you would have told me, or, but they know that I would have tried to do something and they didn't want me to. And I'm like, but that's what I'm here for, you know? But, without releasing some things that they, just to guard them, um, it's just helped me to connect with them on a deeper level. And I'm trying to encourage them, or at least my younger daughter. I feel like eventually she'll get to a point where she will share her story. And I believe she will have a great impact on a lot of youth. I don't know if some adults are ready to receive some of the things that she has shared. I haven't even shared with some of the people that I know um some of the things, just because I don't know, you're trying to guard
Yeah.
the people, if that makes sense.
Yes.
But yeah, I'm just gonna leave it there.
Yeah.
So for
I,
me,
I love this
to
question.
but I was going to say for me, in sense of like the mental side of things and what's happened in mine. Um, so mine was about death, and that was 20 years ago. And coming in contact with people who are experiencing death, no matter what their situation is, I can relate. I can empathize with them. And for me, the relationship that I had, and then that person passing away was short compared to people that have gone through being, having a relationship with someone for many, many years. But when people, experience that situation,
Mhm.
then I immediately go into, wow, I know what they're going through. And they're going through a lot. And so when people have it's happened a long time ago and they still have their days or their times, their season, their week or whatever, because something will trigger. Okay, there was a death with someone that was really close to me. I can relate because I understand that feeling empty, like a part of you is missing, regardless of what that relationship may be. Um,
Mm,
because when I say things triggering, like for me, I could walk into a store that I had an experience with the person, and
mm,
all of a sudden I'm thinking, wow. So mentally, death is one of those things that can be with the person for the rest of their lives, I believe.
Yeah.
Yep. And I
Mhm.
love that question, Destiny, because your mental health has to be in a certain place to even be able to tell things that, happen behind the scenes, even. 10 women started out in this book. Not everybody was ready mentally. Not everyone was even out of the woods in what they wanted to talk about. They weren't healthy enough to move through this process. And that's something that I had to be able to take to God and say, is it okay for this person to move forward? And everybody did not get a green light. Health is so super important, because also the people that these ladies are touching are hurting mentally. They really are. And so
Yeah.
that's something that also has to be, um, there has to be a certain level of intact, if you will, even in order to be able to deliver this story. And so that was the other thing, that these women had to arrive at a certain place, and some of them were on this journey to write. So I love that question about the mental health, because it's super important.
I agree with Dr. Tracy. For me, the writing period was very hard for me. I had to relive the moments, and I had to really deal with it at that time. It was very hard, really, and Dr. Tracy really supported. She was there, and she was holding my hand for me to be able to do it. At some
yes.
point, I felt like, why did I agree to this? At some point, I was asking myself, how can I get out of this? This is really, first, because I'm reliving the moment. Number two, I'm thinking, oh my God, the whole world is going to read about the hardest time of my life. Really, I had to deal with all that mentally. But
Mm,
after I wrote the second chapter, I think as I was writing, the healing was taking place in my heart, in my spirit. It was just because that's something that had closed right inside my heart and my spirit. And speaking it out through the book really helped my mental health where that issue is concerned, because it's about spiritual manipulation. I'm a leader, I'm a leader of an organization. I lead youths, I lead children, I lead, communities. And I got into manipulation. And for a long time, because for
Yeah.
me, I feel like that was my biggest loss. I even count the years until I'm like, those were 10 good years that I lost. And I didn't want to really have to deal with that loss. And writing about it took me there. I
Hmm.
remember I would write and just cry. I would just cry. It was very hard to deal with it emotionally. But I think the writing is what got me to a good place mentally. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I wanted to piggyback off of Miss Sylvia Hopper too, when she was
Yeah.
talking about the living death. Because for me, I know, as you know, I was talking about the divorce, and I didn't really know or understand until I experienced it myself about that living death. Like, because I was talking to my daughter about this the other day, as a matter of fact. She was like, yeah, she was like, I know it's a living death, but there's so much more. And I'm thinking, my kids are even dealing with that living death. The more I thought about it, it's not just the person that was in the relationship, husband and wife, but if there are children involved, they're dealing with that too. And if
Yes.
a relationship is strained, then they're taking that on as well, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Me, myself, I like to protect my peace. If I've tried to have conversations with you and we can't the first two times, I will back up, walk away, and but I'm not keeping my kids from, having that experience with their father if they decide they want to do that, right? But my heart goes out to children as well. At first I was just kind of thinking about, the women, but my heart goes out to the kids as well because I see what my children kind of deal with, and they don't talk about it a lot. But yeah, I just want to share that.
I'm glad you did. That's very insightful because a lot of times when we're dealing with things as adults, we forget to see that it's affecting other people. And I had to learn that through my journey, my walk as well. I shared last time with the other ladies that I published my life story from like 7 years old to the age of 24 in 2019 with a publishing company in Seattle, Washington. So it's like for me, throughout that journey, I had to realize that I like the sense of empathy and understanding that other people are impacted as well, and other people deal with things as well, and that it's important that I share that space of where I'm dealing with things as well, but I can see things from other people's perspectives, and that they have a right to feel, experience things, but you know, I'm human, they're human, but it just shows that I am not just being selfish in my own hurt and my own pain. So I
Yeah.
shout out to you, Miss Carroll, for realizing that and giving your daughters a voice because that's important. Because a lot of times, as young Black women and African Americans just in general, it can be really challenging because
Yes.
Hmm.
you feel like your feelings don't matter.
Yes.
That's really
Yes,
good.
ma'am.
Steve. All right, you ready to transition to another question?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Can you share an instance from the book
Sure.
where you were claiming, well, I'm sorry, where in the book there was a moment that was directly tied to an internal battle with your mental well being? Anybody?
Wow.
Say the question one more time for me. I'm sorry.
Can you share an instance from the book where you had a moment that was directly tied to an internal battle with your mental well being?
I think,
I would go
all
ahead,
right,
Jackie.
go ahead, Jean.
I was going to say, I was thinking about mine, and I know that in the chapter one, I do talk about being on the highway with my four children in the car and thinking, I'm running again. Am I going to turn around and turn around and go back, or am I really going to get away this time and never look back? And it was definitely a very tough time in my life because I was trying to do what was right for the kids, but at the same time, I didn't really have anywhere to go. And I'm thinking, oh, I must be totally crazy. Here I am, a single mom with a U-Haul trailer on the back of my car. And I got four kids and a cat. And we even had this little fish bowl that had a couple fish in it. And we're headed south. And I'm not even sure that where I'm supposed to be going is going to be a safe place. So in that moment that we were stuck there in the on the Jersey Turnpike and the traffic wasn't moving for hours and it was getting really cold, I started stressing and I'm like, okay, am I totally crazy that I've just ripped my kids from their home and I'm in this car and now we're going to freeze to death in this car, in the traffic because there's only a little gas and it's a while before we get to the next town. And so the time was ticking, and really, I just felt like screaming. But those four kids, I couldn't do that. So that was a really tough moment that I was curious on. Am I sane or not? And am I going to get away finally this time? Because it wasn't the first time I had run. It was just the most severe run and the most distance that I was trying to make between the two of us before whatever would happen. So I would say definitely it was a struggle mentally in that moment there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would say for me, the whole ordeal affected me mentally to a point of depression, but also it translated to physical illnesses. Like I mentioned, I would get nosebleeds. And I remember there's a time that I got a migraine just after a church service, and I knew I'm dying, That's I knew I'm dying. So for me, it was mental health, mental illnesses translating to physical illnesses. My body speaking to me that I'm not okay, and my body will just. I'd never had a nosebleed since I was a child, and after separating myself, I've never had another nosebleed.
Yeah.
I'd never had a migraine since I was born, but that time I had a migraine, a very bad one. I had to, lie on the, on the front door so that in case I don't make it to morning, they find me because I live alone, because I live alone and I felt like, and I even wrote my mom's number. So whoever finds me can call my mom and my sister. I wanted to make it easy for them. And yeah, I wasn't really okay, but I could. Spiritual manipulation is tricky because you want to really be truthful to God. You want to serve God from your heart because I love God. I love serving God, and that's what I want. And I want to please God. And so there's a thin line between pleasing God and and pleasing his representative or her representative in the church structure or governance and all that. And so it's very hard to, by the time you realize this is manipulation, by the time you realize this is not good for you, it takes a lot of time. And for me, it took 10 years, and out of maybe 5 of those 10 years, my mental health, I was in a really bad space. And after I separated myself from the church or the individual, I had to go and stay with my sister. I stayed with my sister for 2 years because I felt that I can't live alone. I felt like I can't continue living alone. I need to be around people. I was really just undergoing a severe depression, and I told my sister, "Can I come stay with you for a month?" And a month turned into 2 years, and she was gracious enough to really just host me for 2 years. I didn't tell her that I'm not okay, but she could see that I'm not okay. I did not tell anyone that but people could see that I'm not okay. But yeah, and so for me, the whole ordeal had a negative effect on my mental health.
And I know for me, I didn't even realize I was dealing with depression. I think I shared this before until it was like after the fact. Like when I actually had like a 15-minute session with someone and I was telling her everything that I was kind of dealing with or whatever. And she's like, honey, you haven't had a chance to even deal with your stuff. She's like, you are dealing with depression. So I guess, I don't know. I think I've heard you even said it on another broadcast, something about like walking depression or living depression or something like that, where people deal with it, but they're not aware or
Mm.
whatever. And when I became aware is when I remember when, and I didn't talk about this in this book, but I remember when my ex was coming to get his stuff or whatever when we were separated, I believe at the time. And um, not trying to put him out there, but just he didn't smell the best or whatever. And I know he was always on top of that. You know what I'm saying? And so I was like, man, you know, I'm thinking maybe he's dealing with depression right now or something like that, right? And then it made me just kind of start looking at myself, right? To say, hey, because I even remember when my mom would come over to the house and like the curtains or the blinds were closed or whatever. And she's like, why is it so dark in here? And it wasn't really dark to me. But when I went to that class, someone was having a class on mental health and they got to the part in the book when they talked about like the symptoms. I was like, oh my God. I said, this is me. You know, it's like I wasn't keeping myself up, as far as physically when it comes to, take care of your hygiene or whatever. I mean, I really just got in a deep, dark place, not really recognizing it, whatever. And then I was pregnant on top of it when I was dealing with it. And I didn't want to pass that to my baby, but I think I kind of did. And then the other thing for me too is like, I notice when there's a funeral or something, I really don't like to go to funerals now. It's not that I liked it before per se, but it's like I deal with it differently now. It's like I rather just remember that person as they were when they were living or whatever, and I'm good. If I do go to the funeral, I'm gonna sit in the back. I really don't like sitting up front. If I do, it's gonna be on the second row or back or something like that. Especially, when it's a close family member, they want you to sit up front or whatever. But I'm just because I think it just took a toll on me mentally because there was so much death going on. It's like I'm dealing with this divorce, and then I'm dealing with the death that was going on between both of our families. It was a lot, and I never really got a chance to grieve. So I was carrying all that and then trying to stay in a supposedly a healthy mental space, all at the same time, and think about your child that you're carrying. It was a lot.
Thank you for sharing that. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Very insightful. Very. I think a lot of women that are watching this, no matter what the race is, can really relate to what you're saying because a lot of people don't know how to pinpoint or even articulate what you just stated. So
Right.
definitely, like that's amazing. That's admirable. Yeah, it's amazing. Dr. Tracy, did you want to speak on that question?
You know what? It even just listening, even to do you, and you can see chosen to be able to dig deep. Like even just sitting here having this conversation and listening to Jean talk about the experience of having four kids in the car, you can see the mental battle that had to be going on with that. The struggle. I mean, even the ones that haven't spoke up. When I think about Sylvia talking about um, that death like that, and how there are things that trigger today claiming what's theirs, the subtitle, because it doesn't say that it's going to go away, that your troubles are going to stop, but they show you how to deal in real time. That these things, some things never go away, but there's a way to live life and still claim those things that God has for you, even in the midst of these turmoils and these struggles, because these are things that happen. You never know what's going to trigger at what moment, but they've given tools in the book on how to move forward, even though these things are plaguing your life. We refuse to allow them to rob us of the things that God has for us. So I'm loving this.
Thank you for that. All right. We're going to transition into another question. Do you believe that there's a particular kind of healing that is unique to spiritual or faith-based journeys?
Say that one more time.
Do you believe that there's a particular kind of healing that is unique to spiritual or faith-based journeys?
Absolutely. Absolutely. There is a level of healing effective. God has given our bodies a natural way of healing, right? You stump, you had a scratch on your leg, it's going to eventually heal. He's just given us that. It's just going to eventually heal. There is something about the supernatural spirit realm that where there are only certain things a doctor or a psychologist can tap into. But there is a complete level of healing that take their issues to him. Only God can heal some of these places and spaces. So without that spiritual tap in, there are some levels of healing that I believe that we're not even privy to, that we don't even get that opportunity until you build a relationship with the creator, the one who knows. He knows exactly what's ailing us. He knows. I mean, he created us. So what better is the Father? Because if you don't even have a relationship with him, there you just don't even have access to certain healing. That's my take on that. I'll let the other ladies talk.
Oh, that's deep. Wow.
I think if you're a Christian, your health comes from God, really. And the Bible says, if the foundations are broken, what will the righteous do? You know, as Christians, when it gets to that point, whom do we rush to? When you need healing, who do we go to? Who do we speak to? And even during the moment of depression or when things are not working out, whom do we speak to? It has to be God, and His own gives us our healing. And I agree with Dr. Tracy. There's a place where mental health specialists cannot reach, but the Holy Spirit of God can reach there. And God knows us very well. He knows he knows our innermost thoughts. He knows what we need and what's best for us. And also sometimes when you go through these uh, life journeys,
Mhm.
it's also normally God's way of making us. It's also God's way of making us because He knows what's in store for us in the future. And sometimes our experiences, no matter how bad they look, God's hand is still normally upon us at that time. And it's also part of our journey because He knows our days from the beginning, to the end. And for me, I would say the healing comes from God without making the doctors or psychiatrists irrelevant. They are relevant in this journey. But as a Christian, I think our dependency is on God and our healing there's a place for healing, even mental health healing, where Christ is.
That's good. Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
And I have to say, God plus therapy. I used to just, hey, go to God in prayer. I truly believe all that. Don't get me
Yeah.
wrong. I am not knocking that. But I believe that God has given gifts to us too,
Mhm.
tools that others can come in and help us on that journey as well. That's just my personal
Yeah.
um, perspective, just based on what I've been through. And then also, again, going back to my kids, because there's certain things I didn't know what to do or how to speak to some of those things that the specialist was able to assist with, to be able to draw and pull certain things out of them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean,
Yep.
yes, prayer is definitely the foundation. I'm never going to knock that at all. But sometimes I was in a place where I wasn't able to pray.
Yeah.
I'm just being honest, and some
Right.
people would look back like, did you pray? Okay, I'm sorry. I just wasn't in that space to do that. Don't knock me. I still have a relationship with God too. But
Yeah.
I just wasn't at that place where I needed to be, that I needed to be for my kids.
Right.
So,
And I believe that also, even with that, because her question was about the spiritual realm into God and his infinite wisdom and ability to heal, you could have gone to the wrong therapist. But
Yeah.
God
mhm,
also led. There's an inroad that I believe that we have, that his favor supersedes us just choosing anyone. You know what I mean?
for
So
sure.
he still shows up because of your relationship with him. I believe that all roads lead back to
Yeah.
prayer is a sure foundation. But as far as you then also being led to the right person,
Hmm.
and then God, allowing, God to speak through them. It had you not had the relationship with God, you might not have had that either,
Yes,
you
ma'am.
know? So
Yeah.
I love that. Yes.
Good.
Yeah. And I would add, God leads us to individuals or circumstances that heal, heal us, you know.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
for me, I had to get into family, and God had to give me favor with my sister to allow me to stay with her, and my niece was so young, she was a baby, but God used her to really heal me, because she didn't want to sleep with anyone else. She would just come to my bed, and she would always sleep on my chest. But she thought,
Yeah.
maybe my son would say, oh, this is are you getting tired at night, the whole night? But I needed that. I needed her there. I needed that hug for the whole night, and that loving for the whole night. And so God really had to just use, you know, my sister and her family and other individuals actually to heal me.
Yeah.
Good.
I do like how we've referenced, in my thinking, there's the body, mind, and soul. So we do need body, mind, spirit, different ways that we reference it, but it is a three-part healing, because in some of those traumas, we do have the mental health that we need to look at, but also the physical health, because being a mindset coach, I know that brain downloads certain chemicals that also affect our body health. So I believe that it is important that we do go to the right physician for which area we're working at. And in my belief system, the right area for our spiritual is to get with our Father and have those conversations, to wrestle it out as it's referenced in the scripture, that if we know that this is not where we want to be, we're still going to have to work through the process and trust that the Father's going to provide that healing at some point, always looking to Him for the guidance, not only for the spiritual part, but for the physical trainers or physical doctors for our physical body, but also for our mindset. Because again, a lot of it starts right in our mind, and that's the only place that we can start to sort it out. If we put some of those other things out there in the community or in the people around us, they're going to be naysayers against what we know within our own spirit that we're supposed to be doing. So it's very important that we do have that spiritual connection with our Father, God, the creator of everything, that he knows the path that he's going to take us on. We just have to be willing to drop those weights and know that those things from that past are not what define us today, using our mind to remind ourselves that's not who we are anymore, or that's not the person that's in control of us, whoever it may be. Getting back to the three parts, the body, mind, and spirit. All three need to be healed together to become a whole part, a whole body, and then into our families and our community. When we become whole, all three areas, then others will see the healing, and they will be absorbed. They will be so absorbed to it that they want to follow, and they'll start looking at the ways that maybe we worked through our healing. So it's all a part of the whole product. Thank you.
That was deep, Miss Caggiano. That was really deep because it has me thinking about the aspect overall, like did God put those people that are gifted with those gifts, Miss Carroll, to for the mental health perspective, the psychologists and the psychiatrists and all that to have that balance. And then to be able to have doctors that are able to help us better, holistic doctors, opposed to
Mm-hmm.
medical ones that are helping us really understand what we need to be putting in our body. Then we got the spiritual aspect, which is God, which God is in every bit of it, mind, body,
Yeah.
and soul. But having
Mm-hmm.
those resources, those gifted people to pour into us actually makes that a complete like it's a
Yes,
balance. So that's deep.
that's really good. Yes.
Mm. And as you can see on the screen, I did put their book up here. The QR code goes to the Amazon. That's what I found online. And if you scan that, you can go and purchase the book and support them. Go and support, please support, and drop a comment under their under the Amazon review. Get them trending as a bestseller. So
Thank
I just
you.
wanted to throw that out there because I was working on getting that up on this.
Yes, I saw that. Thank you.
You all are welcome. You're welcome.
We appreciate it.
So, transitioning to another question, how does the concept of forgiveness, both of oneself and others, contribute to the healing of yourself by actually writing the book?
I would say without forgiveness of yourself, you can't even forgive someone else. So it starts again with self.
Mm-hmm.
That's good.
Totally agree.
So, how does that? So, do you all feel that throughout the process of writing the book that you all have forgiven the people who have hurt you, or are you still walking in that process?
I forgave. Yeah, I absolutely had to forgive in order for me to move forward. And, I went through some trying times with the person that passed away. But in the end, looking back, I had to reflect on the good experiences that I had, and reflecting on those good experiences and looking at how did I handle the situation, how did I behave. And in the end, I know that I did what God wanted me to do. And so I forgave and was just grateful for all of the good times.
That's good. That's good.
I had forgiven for me, but there's some things that has transpired since then, and just being raw and honest, I'm walking out some things because of my children, just how they're being impacted by some things. But yeah, walking it out.
Good.
For myself, on my story, the particular story that I referenced in the book, it's been more than 25 years at this point before I since I was able to get away from my abuser, and he has since passed on. I did have to forgive him before I could even bring myself to consider writing anything about it. As a matter of fact, for my own children's sake, I needed to demonstrate that forgiveness for them as well, because even his own children are working through their own forgiveness to their dad in this case.
Wow. I'm thinking about it because I never really thought about it that way. I don't know whether for me forgiveness was needed because I had to forgive. It was because for me it was a battle of destinies. To just say the truth, I felt like God has called me,
Mhm.
and I felt like I lost a lot of time here because of the same reasons. And it was a battle when I was really down and depressed. I was battling with God and telling God I'm letting go of the calling. I wasn't there thinking this person has manipulated. I feel like I've lost my calling. I felt like I've lost what God had destined me to be. And that was the battle really. And it's bigger than an individual, it's bigger than me. And so really, I've never really thought about if I needed to forgive someone because my team members also know that I don't really, God has given me the grace not to carry things on my chest. But for me, my question would be if this individual invited me to have coffee, would I go? And if my answer is no, what does that mean? Is it that I have not forgiven him or uh, I don't want to go back to that situation, you know? And so for me, what I did is that I moved on. And right now I'm wiser, I'm more careful,
Mhm.
but God also restored my calling. So God restored me. And for me, I've never really thought, oh, I don't even remember I remember what I went through because it was heartbreaking for me. But I'm not sure. Maybe I've never really faced the forgiveness part or thought about it because for me it was about my work and the calling that God, you know, put me in the world to do. For me, it was just about that, and that's what I was fighting for at that time.
So to elaborate further on, like, well, I have a question on that. Like, well, not question, more of a statement. Um, I this is just how I feel even walking through the journey of just things I've gone through. I don't think that someone has to engage back with someone that has abused
Yeah,
and hurt them. But if God is saying, "Hey, be a blessing," like the Joyce Meyer story, or you often
Mhm.
that what happened to her, and she's like took care of her father and all of that, and the circumstance that surrounded that. That was something God told her to do. If God's telling you to do it, then do it. But some people, I feel that they have a sense of guilt or not understanding of certain things. That they tend to subject themselves to their abusers or people that have hurt them because they feel like they're supposed to, because sometimes people interpret the Bible as in, okay, you have to be this person, you have to put yourself, you have to do that. You really have to tap into God. You really have to. And you really have to be able to translate and understand the scripture and what God is saying to you, opposed to someone saying, hey, go over there and be around that person, and they're still abusive, they're still mean, they're still not doing what they need to do. So it's just, again, just being able to balance that of just saying, hey, God, what do you need me to do? Not feeling obligated. But
Mhm.
forgiveness doesn't mean you forget.
Yeah.
That's what the healing journey is for.
But I think
yeah,
I don't want us to miss what she just said, because I really, until she said it, and I really want us to think about really what she just said, because oftentimes we get caught up in the supposed to do was focus on
Mhm.
the fight of getting back what was taken, not necessarily how it
Mhm.
happened, But she decided to focus on, she never even gave that person the energy to be spiteful or upset with it. She ran right past that
Mm-hmm.
and chose to fight for the very thing that was in jeopardy, which was her assignment from God, which was her, because book on the forgiveness experience, because that was my plight,
Mm-hmm.
forgiving. And I almost missed God not forgiving. And so I'm very sensitive to the forgiveness thing, but I think there was something so powerful about what she just said. Usually we have to walk through forgiveness because there's something this person has left with us, and that there's a piece that we concentrate on, and we put a label, and we identify a person. She chose not to even give them that energy. Instead, she focused on not the hurt, but the fight of getting back what she knew was in jeopardy, which was her very faith, her very essence. When somebody has done a wrong to you and make you really think about, that fight becomes much bigger than that person.
Yeah.
True.
It literally was her fighting for her life. Like, I don't even have the energy to give to you, or even to say you're responsible. I can't even give you the satisfaction of being responsible.
Yeah. And
But
it was
yet,
also for me to forgive myself for when the Lord spoke to me and told me it's time to live. It's time to concentrate on this, on your calling. I didn't live. So it was more of I need to get back there. I need to get back to my calling. I lost my calling when serving in church. And that's
Mm-hmm.
very difficult. It's a thin line. And I really had to go back to God. First of all, God, I'm sorry, I lost it along the way. I can't remember where, but but it was also God. Are you still with me? Do I go about doing this? And the funny thing is, that's the time God's voice was very loud to me. That yeah, go on. I'm with you. Dr. Tracy has come to the slum. She has seen the children I work with, and it was a place where I'm telling God, okay, I'm done. I'm gonna close this and I'm gonna go back and get a job. This is hard, I've lost it. I lost it somewhere along the way. And so, like she's saying, my fight was for this, for my calling. And even right now, it would be very hard to. I, I think God took me through that experience to know what's important
Mm.
and who is important. And I had to go through it. My younger sister talks to me anytime we are talking. She tells me that God had to take you through that so that you don't make such a mistake ever again. Because if you made such a mistake ever again, it will be too costly for you, and you may lose your calling completely, or it will be too late for you to get back to it. And so for me, I feel like God really, I had to go through it. But the truth is, like the Dr. Tracy is saying, that it's bigger. It's bigger than an individual. And if I took a minute or even a second to think about this person, I think I'd lose a lot. And the fight was just for the destiny. God has, I tell people that I'm one of the luckiest individuals on earth because I found my purpose on earth. I tell people that I'm doing exactly what God created me to do. And I was about to lose that. And without my purpose on earth and the calling God has in my life,
Mhm.
who is Jackie? I don't think I know who Jackie is without God's, without the purpose God put me on earth for. And so I was about to lose everything myself, the purpose, the calling, and the ministry. And that's bigger than an individual.
And I just want to say, for me, kind of going back to the forgiveness piece, when I said that I'm walking it out again, I had forgiven their dad as far as, our situation, right? But when I'm thinking about what my kids have experienced a little bit, like I said, this is after the book. um I know I pinpointed it the other day. I was like, okay, I'm dealing with borrowed offense. As you know, Miss Destiny, our pastor talks about borrowed offense or whatever, right? So I realized that I was offended by what he was doing to them or how he was making them feel, per se, right? And I have to walk out my forgiveness piece. They still have to be able to forgive him, but I have to let them have that journey, between them, God, and him, right? And just be there to encourage them to listen and, share when the Holy Spirit leads me to share something with them. But I still have to forgive him for how he would make them feel based on the information they would share with me, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Uh, Miss Caggiano, Miss Hopper, you have anything to share? You don't. It's okay. It's
I got to go. Yeah.
okay. So I have two more questions and then we'll wrap up. Right. How was writing Chronicles of the Chosen impacted your own lives individually as a partnership, as a whole, as like the anthology? More understanding, like how did that bond help you all understand each other's stories and what are the similarities?
We've all had a lot of challenges
Yeah.
and some similarities and a lot of differences. We took those and handled it in different ways as well. Um, but in the end, we all love God. We've all listened to God. We've followed what He's asked us to do, no matter how difficult it was and may still be. We all said, God, no matter what, I'm going to do what you called me to do. I'm writing these chapters. I'm struggling to write them, but I'm doing it. And we all succeeded.
Yeah.
And for me, it was just the beginning. I'm working on my next one. I have been, and I'm grateful because God told me years ago that I was supposed to write a book, and I kept putting it off. And this was the beginning, and I'm so grateful for the opportunity to be with everyone. And Dr. Traci Ward, you are something else.
Yes.
A true coach.
She
Yes.
is.
Warned us of things that was going to happen, and like, again, we experienced it. Look, she warned us, and then we experienced our own challenges. And like, okay, here we go. She said it was going to happen. But through
Yeah.
it all, you still held our hands and you encouraged us, and I'm grateful for that. And I know that everyone else is too. And I'm just looking
Yes.
forward to the next thing that God has for me to do. And I thank you again for just being there, and for you listening to God telling you to do this with all these women that you've done it for so far.
Yes. Ditto.
Miss Sylvia stated it very well. Thank you, Miss Sylvia. I know that I wouldn't have had the opportunity to necessarily go meet Jacqueline, Miss Jackie, as I did, and that definitely was a life changer, an eye opener. As I told her children, they inspired me being in front of them. So definitely a life changer for me, and it is the breakthrough as well. I just launched another one, but yeah, I've got more coming as well in the book writing process. So thank you, Dr. Traci Ward, and thank you, ladies, for writing your stories, because all of the stories together do lend hand in hand with each other. It is about the journey of healing and caring for other people, and letting them to know that their stories matter too, no matter what they looked like before. Today, they can shine bright and brilliant and be exactly what they're created for. So thank you so very much.
Yes.
Mm.
Yeah.
It sounds like that Dr. Ward, she don't have to start a podcast for the Chronicles of the
Right.
She's good. She's a good coach, and for me, I think I attribute my ability to share my story to her. If she didn't really prepare us and still hold our hands, most likely some of us would not really have written. And over the years, people tell me, you need to write a book. And yeah, she's gotten me out of that shell, and I'm out here. And I'm also happy that I wrote with sisters who know God and love God. And that's what's brought us together. And I was also happy to meet Miss Jean. She came all the way to the slum and met the children that we work with Dr. Traci and other wonderful ladies. And really, I would say that I found another family and another community that I've grown to love now. Yeah.
Love it.
Thank you.
And you're located in Kenya, correct?
Yes, I'm in Nairobi, Kenya.
Okay. Shout out to
Yeah.
Nairobi.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
And they shared the sentiments of my heart. So,
Yeah.
Yes.
so
So we can expect a Chronicles of the Chosen podcast in the near future, right? Bringing all these ladies and these authors together, possibly.
oh, see
Dr.
a
Tracy.
challenge, Dr. Tracy.
We might have to just come join you. Listen, we,
Come
we,
on.
we might have to circle back around and join you.
Hey,
Because I'm telling you, this plate of mine, I was talking to somebody not too long ago about the fact that I'm gonna let God fill my plate, make my plate. Because
Mhm.
oftentimes we like, I got so much on my plate.
sure, sure.
Who put it? Did God put it there? You know,
Come on.
Mhm.
because we
You're
find
right.
ourselves with so much on our plate. But when we really ask ourselves, did you do that? Or was that God?
That's
Because
good.
oftentimes we have so much on our plate, there ain't no room for the stuff that God really has for us.
That's
And
it.
so, I done a podcast, Operation Reset, for a while. And so then God transitioned me. So girl, we might have to join. I'm happy to bring the other
I'm open,
authors of
open.
Chronicles of the Chosen to you. Absolutely.
I'm open to it. I'm open. Yeah, I put it out there. I love the concept of it, but I love what you're doing and the impact that you're doing. Like in that, like in my last question, how can ladies, do you only do women for the book or is there men as well?
You know what? That is something that I've actually been on my heart for, sometimes men receive certain things from men better. They don't have to know we're behind it, you know. But sometimes you need maybe a brother to put them in the forefront. And God has laid on my heart actually to do one with veterans.
Oh,
There's a story, I believe, that there are some men that really truly need to tell that story. Um, I'm gonna have to light a fire under Mr. West, Dr. West. Actually, he's in Dubai right now, meeting with the president there and some other things. But it's something that I've kind of poked about. So we're gonna see where that goes. But up until now, it's only been women. But God is certainly kind of nudging me to do something different too. And all of the anthologies that I publish, you can go and look under Live Your Best Life, Dr. West's. All of those books have men and women in them. So men and women have told their story in the Live Your Best Life series.
So if they, how can they get in contact with you if someone's just like, hey, I'm ready to write my story. I want to be a part of this. I want to connect with you. I need a life coach. How can they get in contact with you?
Absolutely. I'm free to give my number even right here. Traci.Ward, WARD 5069 at gmail.com. And, my number, you're free to share it, 785-554-1841. And if they're serious about wanting to do it, we can certainly talk about, and even if it's like you said, them needing some coaching to get over a hard place, I'm very much open to that.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you. How can anybody get in contact with you ladies? If somebody's really, connecting with your story and they just want to know how you were able to get through the writing process, can you all individually, if you don't mind, just shout out a email or phone number so they can contact you as well?
So I'll go. So Sylvia Hooper, you can reach me, email author shopper at gmail.com. So AUTHORSHOPPER at gmail.com.
I'll go next. I am Jean Caggiano, and you can find me on Facebook or LinkedIn, or you could email me at Gems of Hope, JEMSOFHOPE at gmail.com. Thank you.
And for me, Musyoka at yahoo.com, JMUSYOKA at yahoo.com.
And for me, it will be life after DWN at gmail.com. So that's Life After Divorce Women Network at gmail.com or Instagram.
Okay.
They can send me a message.
Okay. Well, you all know how you can get in contact with these wonderful ladies here. And I just want to thank you all for tuning in. And thank you all so much for just answering these questions with poise. I love it. Thank you. But that wraps up another episode of Prosperity Podcast. We want to extend a huge thank you to the authors of the Chronicles of the Chosen, Claiming What's Mine, for joining us today and sharing their incredible insights. If today's conversation uplifted you, please subscribe to Prosperity Podcast. That's PERSPERITY podcast on YouTube. And be sure to ring that notification bell so you'll never miss out on the future episodes. Join me next week again with an amazing guest. All right, ladies, thank you so much for tuning in. And
Thank you.
please, tune in on Monday because I'm going to be doing a live on YouTube. Watch with me. So they'll be able to interact and you'll see comments on the screen.
All right.
Thank you,
Awesome.
Miss
Thank you.
Destiny.
You.
Thank you
Appreciate you.
again.
I'm going to hit my theme song music.
Thanks,
Blessings,
everyone. Nice
beautiful
to meet you,
queen.
Jackie. You're a beautiful spirit.
Yes.
Blessings, beautiful queen. See you soon.
We love you.
Listen.
Yes.
Healing hearts and mending
Love you guys.
minds. Together we'll leave the past behind. Welcome
Love
to
you.
the
Love
Love
you.
you.
Love
Bye,
you.
everyone.
Bye
Take
bye.
care.
Thank you. Love you too.
Every story shared, we grow
Bye.
and